Alright, Schlockmeister fans, continuing with the 12 Creature Features DVD set, we're going to watch another GAMMERA movie. GAMMERA the Invincible, the initial GAMMERA movie. Let's watch. The movie starts near the North Pole or something. Someplace cold.
A ship gropes through the ice fields of the Arctic. The expedition, with American and Canadian cooperation, seeks an open water route across the top of the continent.
So while that's happening, some Russian fighter planes are overhead or something.
What is it? Russian planes are now American. Trouble, huh? Real trouble, yes.
So the U.S. Air Force plane is firing on this Russian plane. Nailed it. But apparently this Russian plane had an atomic bomb or multiple atomic bombs on board. That's going to cause a problem when it crashes. So the heat and impact of that explosion of the atomic bomb caused something to be awakened that was buried in the ice. It's GAMMERA.
You take this very old stone about Cloud of Death. It's a primitive carving of a proto-Chelonian. A what? An ancestral turtle like the leatherback. Tell me, Chief, is there a legend connected with this? Yes. Old story of death and evil things that happened. Of GAMMERA.
Well, sure shit, that giant turtle is loose. Wreaking havoc on a boat. And blowing fire. That's right. Some talking heads discuss the turtle issue on television.
You get no apology from me, contraire. I refer to it. You have no scholarships to back your arguments. You have no arguments, only invective. Read Virgil's Laocoon. Read Paradise Lost, the ravings of a lunatic. Read the Pyrites, the fire without and the frost within. Read, you ignorant ape. Read.
And in the skies over Tokyo, they see this spinning thing, which looks like a UFO, but I believe it's actually GAMMERA. Because GAMMERA spins and has engines, you know.
What is it?
There's a kid named Toshio.
Your sister and I understand your love for your pet turtle, but we want to talk to you about it.
He likes turtles.
Come on.
Come, Toshio. You have to learn to make friends with people as well as animals, Toshio.
So his parents convince Toshio to set his turtle free, and he does. And then he also spots a giant turtle. That's GAMMERA. That's not something you see every day. At one point later on, Toshio's in peril and he's about to fall from a great distance. But GAMMERA shows up. And GAMMERA catches him. In his big turtle paw. And brings Toshio down to safety. We're trying to figure out how to get rid of GAMMERA.
Excuse me, Dr. Steam that hot could kill a person instantly, could it not? Then why can't we use that steam to destroy GAMMERA? I don't think it would work, Captain. You mustn't forget that atomic bomb generated far greater heat, and yet GAMMERA was able to survive.
GAMMERA, meanwhile, just wreaks havoc on the countryside. He's not a bad turtle, he's just a misunderstood turtle. With engines.
We assume GAMMERA is invulnerable, obviously with a great deal of justification. But GAMMERA is vulnerable to cold. Remember, he was frozen in the ice until the bomb released him.
Yes, of course. We must devise some means of freezing GAMMERA.
So they attack GAMMERA with some freeze bombs that the army has devised. Seems to be working.
Look, it's working. You're right. His movements are getting slower.
GAMMERA collapses and rolls down the mountain. Ends up on his back, and you know about a turtle on its back, engines be damned, he's going to be stuck. Or is he stuck? Nope. Thankfully he's got his engines that can spin him out of there. He's more machine now than turtle. Twisted and misunderstood.
The Soviet Union.
A conference is held.
My government to offer complete cooperation. Our nation's resources, scientists, and armed forces are at your disposal.
Look at the U.S. and Russia get along.
The American ambassador.
That he doesn't return here.
Toshio pleads for
GAMMERA saved my life.
GAMMERA to be safe.
Right. He doesn't mean to be dangerous. He's just so big and clumsy, that's all. He goes overboard when it comes to turtles. I like...
Show the film, please. This is Oshima Island in Tokyo Bay. A dormant volcano used at present for a space installation and weather observatory. It is here that Plan Z will be carried out as soon as arrangements are completed.
So the government has something called Plan Z, which they're going to use to get rid of GAMMERA. I don't know if GAMMERA knows about their plan, but he's still spinning out of control. Here's GAMMERA taking out the toy trains.
No, he's all right.
Toshio was a stowaway on board with the government and the army as they try to get rid of GAMMERA. They didn't even know he was gone.
At 10 we were supposed to evacuate to Hachioji, but Toshio's gone. He's been missing all day.
Yes, that's fine. Goodbye. Miss Sakura, good news. Toshio's safe on Oshima Island.
Oh my, Toshio's all right.
So they opened fire on GAMMERA. Actually, they opened fire on the water, and there's some like barrels of oil and gasoline and stuff in there, and GAMMERA's in the water, so Toshio's going to try to warn GAMMERA.
No, GAMMERA, it's a trap. Get back, you're in danger.
But it starts to rain. That doesn't help matters.
There he goes, and there's nothing we can do about it.
And so close to success, too.
But they somehow lure GAMMERA onto this platform.
Open. Where's out? Ready with the capsule? Who's capsule?
Looks like they got him sealed in some sort of giant egg. That giant egg is actually part of a rocket. And they're sending him off. And everybody's happy. No more GAMMERA.
Well, the three of us saw the beginning and the finish, eh? Oh, yeah, I didn't get a picture.
Where's he going, Dr.
He's
Hidaka?
on his way to Mars. Oh, I guess that he'll still be lonely, eh?
I think so, Dr. Hidaka. But when I grow up, I'm going to be a scientist like you, and then I'll go to Mars in a rocket.
All right, GAMMERA the Invincible. I'm not a huge fan of the GAMMERA movies, but I'm making a point to watch all the movies that I have that I haven't seen before, and there's a GAMMERA movie on this disc. Actually, there's two of them that I hadn't seen before, including this one. This one was also GAMMERA the Invincible. This was actually the first GAMMERA movie. I think it was called like GAMMERA Giant Monster or something like that when it originally came out in Japan in 1965. But the following year, after they've already made a sequel to it in Japan because it was such a hit, they filmed some new scenes with some American actors. And they released it in America as GAMMERA the Invincible, and that's the version we have here. And it's actually longer because of all those extra scenes too. And then they obviously dubbed in the Japanese dialogue. And they added a new song, GAMMERA. GAMMERA was sung by a group called the Moons, which sounds like a 60s band when you hear their tone. And it sounds kind of like the Batman theme. Anyway, GAMMERA. Apparently some plane crash, and it has some Russian plane crash, which has some sort of nuclear bomb on board, an atomic bomb. And it crashed like in the North Pole or somewhere. And buried in the ice somewhere in the North Pole was GAMMERA. And the result of this atomic explosion caused the ice to melt, and Gamera was released. And he decides to go wreak havoc on Tokyo. He smashes buildings, this and that. The government doesn't know what to do. They got to stop him. Gamera is kind of thought of as a bad guy. Of course, we all know Gamera in the future. Gamera is like a good guy, like a superhero. And there's this weird kid named Toshi, or Toshio, or something like that, who has a fondness for turtles. And he somehow knows that Gamera isn't mean. He's just misunderstood giant turtle with engines. And so the government wants to like get rid of Gamera, and this kid says, no, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, the government wins out, and they devise this plan called Plan Z to get rid of Gamera. They zap him, and he ends up falling, and they get him trapped on this contraption of some sort. And then, like, this thing closes up on him. It turns out to be a rocket. And then they blast him off into God knows where. Or actually, I should say, they do say he's on his way to Mars at some point. So that's how that movie ended. They're sending Gamera to Mars. So, again, they made several movies, several sequels to this movie and other movies featuring Gamera. It's a ridiculous giant flying turtle, which has engines on it. Again, I don't know the entire backstory of Gamera, but I believe a competing company in Japan wanted to get on the Godzilla craze and made their own competing monster, Gamera. Gamera is some sort of giant rubber-suited thing, and the effects are bad. Everything's bad about this film, but again, it has its charm because it's so bad it's good, right? Anyway, that's it. I don't want to talk any further about it, but I got Gamera the Invincible on this 12 Creature Features DVD with 12 movies on it. You can probably get this for about $15, which is a pretty good deal for all those movies. I'm sure it's available on several other compilations as well, because it's probably in the public domain. Maybe somebody cleaned it up and released a better version of it too. They probably did. But anyway, Gamera the Invincible. Let me know what you think about Gamera the Invincible or Gamera in general. And leave some comments down below. We'll talk about it. I'll put a link down below if you want to buy this movie too. Go buy it from Amazon. Watch it. Bye.